Chosen ones, a dangerous force is coming for you, and it's time to protect yourself now. You're not here by chance. Your presence, your light, your unshakable spirit have drawn the attention of forces that thrive in shadows. They see you shining, standing tall, refusing to bend, and it unsettles them. Evil is targeting you, not because you're weak, but because you're a threat to its grip on this world. You're a beacon, a force of divine truth, and the darkness wants to dim your glow before it spreads further. But hear this, you were born for this moment. God has equipped you with everything you need to stand firm, to protect your spirit, and to rise above what's coming. This isn't about fear, it's about power, your power. The enemy moves in whispers, planting seeds of doubt, stirring chaos to make you question your calling. But you're different. You've walked through fire before. You've faced storms that would have broken others, and you're still here, standing stronger than ever. That's why the darkness is circling. It knows you're not just another soul wandering through life. You're a chosen one, marked by God, carrying a light that can pierce through any lie. The enemy's schemes are no match for the divine armor you wear. So let's talk about how you can shield yourself, how you can stand unshaken, and how you can turn this attack into a victory. First, recognize the signs. Evil doesn't always come with horns and fire. Sometimes it's subtle, a thought that creeps in, telling you you're not enough. A situation that feels too heavy, designed to make you stumble. Maybe it's a person who drains your energy, pulling you away from your purpose. These are the enemy's tools, crafted to distract you from the path God set before you. But you're not blind. You see through the fog. When you feel that pressure, that sudden weight on your spirit, pause. Take a breath. That's not your burden to carry. It's a signal the enemy is near, trying to pull you off course. But you're wiser than that. You know your worth, your calling, your divine protection. Your first shield is faith. Not the kind you just talk about, but the kind you live. Faith that says, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." Faith that reminds you God is your stronghold, your refuge, your unbreakable fortress. When the enemy whispers lies, you counter with truth. Speak it out loud if you have to. I am chosen. I am protected. I am God's. Those words aren't just sounds. They're weapons. They cut through the darkness like a blade. The enemy can't stand against a heart anchored in faith. So, hold fast to it. Let it be the foundation you stand on when the winds of chaos blow. Now let's talk about your light. It's not just something you carry. It's something you wield. The enemy targets you because your light exposes what they want hidden. Think about a room plunged in darkness. One small candle can change everything, revealing what's been lurking in the shadows. That's you. Your presence shifts atmospheres. People feel it. They're drawn to you, even if they don't know why. But that same light draws the enemy's attention too. They want to snuff it out because it threatens their control. So protect it. Guard your spirit by staying connected to God's truth. Read His Word. Pray. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not tear you down. Your light is your power, and it's untouchable when you keep it rooted in Him. If this message is hitting your spirit, if you feel that fire stirring inside, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones standing in their divine strength. Your support keeps this truth spreading, reaching others who need to hear it. And if you're ready to declare your protection, comment 777 below. That number carries the power of divine completion, a sign you're standing firm in God's plan. Let's talk about the enemy's strategy. They don't just attack head-on. They look for cracks. A moment of doubt, a day when you're tired, a time when you feel alone. That's when they strike, hoping to catch you off guard. But you're not defenseless. God gave you discernment, a gift sharper than any sword. You feel those moments coming. You sense when something's off. Trust that instinct. It's not just your gut. It's the Holy Spirit guiding you. When you feel that nudge, don't ignore it. Step back. Pray. Ask God to show you the truth behind what you're facing. He'll reveal the trap before you step into it. Picture this. A lion stalking its prey. It doesn't roar to announce itself. It moves quietly, waiting for weakness. That's how the enemy works. But you're not prey. You're a warrior, chosen by God, clothed in his strength. When the lion creeps closer, you don't run. You stand tall, eyes locked on it, knowing you're backed by a power greater than any predator. That's what makes the enemy tremble. They expect you to cower, but you rise instead. Every time you choose faith over fear, you send a shockwave through their plans. You're not just surviving their attacks, you're dismantling them. Your life is a battlefield, but it's not one you fight alone. God is with you, and his angels are surrounding you. Think of Daniel in the lion's den. The beasts were real, their teeth sharp, their hunger fierce. But God shut their mouths. Not a single claw touched him. That same protection is over you. When evil comes, it might roar, it might scheme, but it cannot touch what God has sealed. You are his, and his seal is unbreakable. So, when you feel the weight of an attack, remember Daniel. Stand firm. Trust that God is already working to silence the enemy's plans. Now, let's flip the script. The enemy's attack isn't just a threat, it's an opportunity. Every time darkness tries to push you down, it's a chance to show who you really are. Think of Joseph, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, betrayed by those closest to him. Every attack was meant to break him, but each one built him instead. He rose from a pit to a palace because he refused to let the enemy define him. You're the same. Every challenge, every attack is shaping you into something greater. The enemy wants you to see it as defeat, but God sees it as preparation. You're being refined, strengthened, positioned for a purpose bigger than you can imagine. Protection isn't just about defense. It's about claiming your ground. The enemy wants you to shrink back, to hide your light, to play small. But you weren't created for that. You were created to stand bold, to walk in authority, to claim the promises God has spoken over you. When you feel the pressure of an attack, don't retreat. Step forward. Declare your purpose. Speak life over yourself. I am called. I am chosen. I am unstoppable. Those words aren't just affirmations. They're battle cries. They remind the enemy that you know who you are and whose you are. Let's talk about community. You're not meant to face this alone. The enemy loves isolation. It's where they do their best work. But God created you for connection. Surround yourself with others who see your light, who speak truth into your life, who remind you of your calling when the enemy tries to make you forget. Find your tribe, those who pray with you, stand with you, fight for you. They're out there, and they're part of God's plan to keep you strong. Together, you're a force the enemy can't touch. A single flame is powerful, but a wildfire is unstoppable. If you're feeling this truth, if you're ready to stand firm against the darkness, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones shining their light. And if you're claiming your divine protection, comment 777 below. Let the heavens hear your declaration. Now let's talk about the power of your words. The enemy wants to control your tongue, to make you speak doubt, fear, or defeat. But your words are a weapon. Proverbs says the tongue has the power of life and death. Every time you speak truth, you push back the darkness. Every time you declare God's promises, you build a wall the enemy can't climb. So choose your words carefully. Speak life, speak faith, speak victory. When the enemy whispers, "You're failing," you say, "I'm rising." When they say, "You're alone," you say, "God is with me." Your voice is a force, and it's time to use it. The enemy's attacks aren't random, they're strategic. They know your potential. They see the doors God is opening for you, the blessings waiting just beyond the horizon. That's why they're coming now, trying to stop you before you step into what's yours. But here's the truth. Their attacks are proof you're on the right path. If you weren't a threat, they'd leave you alone. If you weren't destined for greatness, they wouldn't care. Every time you feel their pressure, let it remind you of your purpose. You're not just fighting to survive, you're fighting to claim what God has promised. Let's talk about rest. Not the kind where you sit back and do nothing, but the kind where you trust God so deeply you don't carry the weight of the battle. The enemy wants you exhausted, running on empty, too tired to fight. But God says, "Come to me, and I will give you rest." When you rest in Him, you're not giving up. You're recharging. You're letting His strength fill you. Take time to be still. Let His peace wash over you. In that quiet, you'll hear His voice guiding you, reminding you that the battle is His, and He's already won. Picture a fortress, walls high and thick, gates locked tight. That's your spirit when you stand in God's truth. The enemy can throw everything they've got, doubt, fear, chaos, but they can't breach those walls. Every time you pray, every time you worship, every time you choose faith, you're reinforcing that fortress. You're making it stronger. The enemy might bang on the gates, but they can't get in. You're not just protected, you're impenetrable. So keep building, keep praying, keep standing. Your fortress is God Himself, and nothing can stand against Him. The enemy wants you to believe you're alone in this fight, but you're not. Think of David facing Goliath. The giant was huge, his threats loud, his presence terrifying. But David didn't focus on the giant. He focused on God. One stone, one sling, one faith-filled step, and the enemy fell. You've got your own stones, your faith, your words, your light. Use them. When the enemy comes, don't look at their size. Look at your God. He's bigger, He's stronger, and He's fighting for you. Let's talk about timing. The enemy's attacks often come right before a breakthrough. When you're on the edge of something big, a new door, a new season, a new level of purpose, that's when they hit hardest. Why? Because they know what's coming. They see the gates of heaven opening, the blessings pouring out, the destiny unfolding. So when you feel the pressure, don't give up. You're closer than you think. That attack isn't a sign of defeat. It's a sign you're about to step into something massive. Keep going. Your breakthrough is waiting. Protection isn't just about standing still. It's about moving forward with purpose. The enemy wants to paralyze you, to make you freeze in fear, but God created you to move, to walk boldly into the plans He has for you. Every step you take in faith is a step the enemy can't follow. Every decision you make to trust God is a blow to their plans. So, keep moving, keep praying, keep shining. You're not just dodging attacks. You're advancing, claiming ground, stepping into the life God designed for you. Now let's talk about the bigger picture. This isn't just about you. Your stand against the enemy is a stand for everyone around you. Your family, your friends, your community. They're all impacted by your light. When you refuse to bow, you're showing others they don't have to either. When you stand firm, you're breaking chains, not just for yourself, but for those who look to you for hope. You're a catalyst, a spark that ignites faith in others. The enemy hates that. They want you silent, but God wants you loud. So, shine, speak, stand. Your victory is their victory too. The enemy's greatest weapon is lies. They'll tell you you're too weak, too small, too broken to win. But look at your life. Look at the battles you've already fought. You're still here, still standing, still shining. Every scar you carry is proof you're stronger than they think. Every time you've risen from the ashes, you've shown them who you are. You're not weak, you're a warrior. You're not small, you're a giant in God's eyes. You're not broken, you're being built into something unstoppable. Let's talk about worship. It's not just singing or praying. It's a weapon. When you worship, you're not just praising God. You're pushing back the darkness. The enemy can't stand in the presence of a heart fully surrendered to God. Think of Paul and Silas, chained in a prison cell, singing praises at midnight. The ground shook, the chains broke, the doors flew open. That's what your worship does. It shakes the enemy's foundation. It breaks their hold. So, lift your voice. Worship through the storm. Watch the chains fall. The enemy wants you to focus on what's coming against you, but God wants you to focus on what's coming for you. Blessings, breakthroughs, open doors. The attacks are temporary, but God's promises are eternal. When the enemy throws chaos your way, look beyond it. See the future God is preparing, a future of abundance, purpose, victory. Every attack is just a distraction. Keep your eyes on the prize. Your destiny is waiting, and no force in heaven or earth can stop it. You're not just protecting yourself, you're preparing yourself. Every attack you face is training you, strengthening you, teaching you how to wield your divine authority. Think of a blacksmith forging a sword. Every strike of the hammer, every blast of heat makes the blade stronger. That's you. The enemy's attacks are the hammer, God's presence is the fire, and you're being shaped into something sharper, stronger, unstoppable. So, embrace the process. Let it refine you. You're not just surviving, you're becoming. The enemy's coming, but so is your victory. They're targeting you because they know what you carry, a light that can change the world. They're afraid of you, chosen one. They're afraid of what you'll do when you fully step into your calling. So, protect yourself, not with fear, but with faith. Not with doubt, but with truth. Stand firm, shine bright, and watch the darkness scatter. You are born for this, you're ready, and God is with you every step of the way. Let's talk about your vision. The enemy doesn't just want to dim your light, they want to cloud your sight. They know if you can see clearly, you'll walk straight into the destiny God has planned. So, they throw fog your way, confusion, distractions, moments that make you question where you're headed. But you're not lost. God gave you eyes to see beyond the haze. Your vision isn't just physical, it's spiritual. You sense the path even when it's hidden. Trust that clarity. When the enemy tries to blur your focus, lean into God's word. Let it be the lamp that lights your way, cutting through the mist like a beacon. Your vision is your weapon. Think of Noah building an ark when no one else saw rain. The world mocked him, called him crazy, but he saw what others couldn't. His clarity came from God, and it kept him steady through the storm. You're the same. You see things others don't, opportunities, truths, possibilities. The enemy hates that. They'll try to make you doubt what you know, to make you second-guess the path you're on. But you're not swayed. You know the voice of God. You know the plans He has for you. Hold fast to that vision, and no force can pull you off course. Now let's talk about your heart. The enemy doesn't just attack your mind. They go for your emotions. They want to stir up anger, fear, or bitterness, hoping to harden what God made soft. But your heart is a fortress, guarded by His love. It's where your strength lies, not in being untouchable, but in being unshakable. You feel deeply, you care fiercely, and that's not weakness, it's power. The enemy wants you to shut down, to build walls around your heart, but God says, keep it open. Let love flow, let compassion guide you. That's how you defeat the darkness, not by hardening, but by staying true to who you are. Your heart is a battlefield, but it's one you're winning. Think of Ruth, who chose loyalty and love over safety and comfort. She faced uncertainty, loss, and a world that could have crushed her spirit, but her heart stayed open, and God turned her faithfulness into a legacy. You're walking that same path. Every time you choose kindness over resentment, forgiveness over anger, you're pushing back the enemy's plans. Your heart isn't just surviving their attacks, it's thriving, growing stronger, radiating a love that disarms even the darkest forces. Let's talk about your time. The enemy loves to steal it, to keep you busy with things that don't matter. They'll throw distractions your way, endless tasks, petty conflicts, worries that eat up your hours. They know they can waste your time. They can delay your purpose. But your time is sacred. God gave you every moment for a reason. Protect it. Guard it like treasure. Say no to what doesn't align with your calling. Focus on what moves you closer to God's plan. Every second you reclaim is a victory, a step toward the destiny waiting for you. Think of Moses standing before Pharaoh, refusing to let time slip away. He could have stayed in the wilderness, tending sheep, living quietly. But God called him to act, to move, to seize the moment. You're in that same place. The enemy wants you stuck, spinning in circles. But God says, now is the time. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't let the enemy trick you into thinking you have to figure it all out first. Step forward now. Trust God to guide each moment. Your time is yours to claim, and it's more powerful than you know. Now let's talk about your voice. Not just the words you speak, but the authority behind them. The enemy wants you silent, afraid to speak your truth. They know your voice carries weight. It shifts atmospheres, breaks strongholds, calls down heaven's power. When you speak, things happen. People listen. The darkness trembles. So don't hold back. Declare God's promises over your life. Speak against the lies. Proclaim your purpose. Your voice isn't just sound. It's a force, a divine tool that shapes reality. Use it boldly and watch the enemy scatter. Picture Esther standing before a king, her voice carrying the weight of a nation's survival. She could have stayed quiet, played it safe, but she spoke, and her words changed history. You have that same power. Every time you open your mouth to declare truth, you're rewriting the enemy's plans. They want you to whisper, to doubt, to stay small. But God gave you a voice to roar. So speak, pray, proclaim. Let your words echo in the spiritual realm, tearing down every scheme set against you. Let's talk about your rest, not just sleep, but the deep peace God offers. The enemy wants you restless, anxious, always on edge. They know a tired soul is easier to attack, but God's rest is your refuge. It's where you recharge, where you hear His voice clearly, where you find strength for the fight. When the enemy pushes you to keep running, to never stop, God says, be still. Find that quiet place. Let His peace fill you. It's not weakness, it's strategy. A rested warrior is a ready warrior, and you're being prepared for victory. Think of Jesus stepping away from the crowds to pray, to rest in His Father's presence. Even in the middle of His mission, He knew the power of stillness. You need that too. When the enemy's attacks feel relentless, don't fight in your own strength. Rest in God's. Let Him carry the weight. Spend time in His presence, and you'll find a peace that no force can shake. That rest will make you stronger, clearer, more focused than ever. It's your secret weapon, and the enemy can't touch it. Now let's talk about your influence. You're not just a light, you're a fire. Your presence changes things whether you see it or not. The enemy targets you because they know your influence is growing. They see the way people look to you, the way your faith inspires others, the way your strength gives hope. They want to stop that ripple before it becomes a wave. But it's too late. Your life is already touching others, sparking faith, breaking chains. Protect that influence by staying rooted in God. Let every action, every word reflect His truth. Think of Paul, writing letters from a prison cell that would shape the world for centuries. His influence wasn't in his freedom, it was in his faithfulness. You're the same. Your influence isn't about your circumstances. It's about your commitment to God's truth. The enemy wants to silence you, to make you think your voice doesn't matter. But every step you take, every word you speak, is planting seeds of hope, faith, and change. Keep shining. Your influence is a weapon, and it's already shifting the world around you. If this message is igniting your spirit, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones walking in their divine purpose. And if you're ready to claim your authority, comment 777 below. Let your declaration echo in the heavens. Let's talk about your foundation. The enemy wants to shake it, to make you question what you're built on. But your foundation is Christ, unmovable, unbreakable, eternal. When the storms come, when the attacks hit, you don't crumble because you're rooted in something stronger than yourself. Every lie the enemy throws is meant to make you doubt that foundation. But you know the truth. You're built on the rock, and no force can topple you. Stand firm in that. Let every attack remind you who you're anchored to. Think of the wise man who built his house on the rock. The rains came, the winds blew, but the house stood firm. That's you. The enemy's attacks are just rain and wind. They can't touch what God has built. When you feel the pressure, go back to your foundation. Read His Word. Pray His promises. Remember who called you. Your strength doesn't come from your own effort. It comes from the one who holds you steady. The enemy can rage all they want, but your foundation won't budge. Now let's talk about your joy. The enemy hates it. Your joy is a threat, a defiance of their plans. They want you weighed down, burdened, joyless. But God gave you joy as a weapon. It's not just a feeling, it's a force. It rises above circumstances, above attacks, above pain. When you choose joy, you're choosing to trust God's goodness, no matter what the enemy throws at you. So, laugh in the face of their schemes, dance through their storms. Let your joy be a declaration that they can't steal what God has given. Think of Nehemiah, rebuilding Jerusalem's walls while enemies mocked and threatened him. He didn't let their words steal his focus or his joy. He kept working, kept trusting, kept moving forward. You're doing the same. The enemy's attacks are just noise. They can't stop what God is building in you. Let your joy be loud. Let it be bold. Let it be a reminder to the darkness that you're not just surviving, you're thriving, and nothing they do can change that. Let's talk about your story. The enemy wants you to see your life as a series of failures, mistakes, or missed chances. But God sees it differently. Every moment, every struggle, every victory is part of a story He's writing. One of redemption, purpose, triumph. The enemy attacks because they know your story isn't over. They know the chapters ahead are filled with breakthroughs, blessings, and a legacy that will outlast their schemes. So, own your story. See it through God's eyes. Every scar, every step, is leading you to glory. Think of Job, who lost everything but held fast to his faith. The enemy thought they had him, but God was writing a story of restoration. Your story is no different. The attacks you face are just plot twists, not the ending. God's pen is still moving, crafting a tale of victory that will leave the enemy stunned. So, keep walking, keep trusting. Your story is far from over, and the best parts are yet to come. Now, let's talk about your peace. The enemy wants to rob it, to keep you in chaos. But God's peace is your birthright. It's not the absence of trouble, it's the presence of Him in the middle of it. When the enemy stirs up storms, you can stand calm, knowing God is in control. That peace is your shield, your anchor, your defiance against their plans. Protect it by staying close to God. Let His presence be your refuge. No matter how loud the enemy roars, His peace will keep you steady. Think of the disciples in the boat, panicking as the storm raged. Jesus slept, unbothered, because He knew who was in charge. You have that same peace available. When the enemy's attacks feel overwhelming, don't focus on the waves. Focus on the one who calms them. Rest in His peace. Let it wash over you. It's not just a feeling. It's a power that holds you firm, no matter what comes. Let's talk about your courage. The enemy wants you timid, hesitant, afraid to step out. But God made you bold. Your courage isn't loud or reckless. It's quiet, steady, rooted in faith. It's the kind that lets you face giants, walk through fire, stand against darkness. The enemy knows every bold step you take is a step toward your destiny, and they'll do anything to stop it. But you're not backing down. You're not shrinking back. You're moving forward, one fearless step at a time. Think of Deborah leading Israel into battle when others hesitated. She didn't wait for permission, perfect timing. She moved with courage, trusting God's call. You're called to that same boldness. The enemy's attacks are just tests, and you're passing them. Every time you choose courage over fear, you're claiming ground they can't take back. So, keep stepping, keep trusting. Your courage is a fire, and it's burning brighter with every attack you face. Now, let's talk about your legacy. The enemy doesn't just want to stop you. They want to erase what you're building. They know your life will leave a mark, a ripple that will touch generations. Your faith, your strength, your light aren't just for today. They're for those who come after you. The enemy hates that. They'll try to make you think your efforts don't matter, that your life won't leave a trace. But God says otherwise. Every seed you plant, every step you take, is building a legacy that will outlast the darkness. Think of Abraham, whose faith became the foundation for nations. The enemy couldn't stop him because God's promise was bigger. Your life carries that same weight. The attacks you face are the enemy's desperate attempt to halt what God is building through you, but they can't. Your legacy is written in heaven, sealed by God's hand. Keep walking in faith. Keep shining your light. You're not just living for yourself. You're building something eternal. If this message is stirring your soul, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones claiming their divine legacy. And if you're ready to stand bold against the enemy, comment 777 below. Let your faith be heard. Let's talk about your focus. The enemy loves to scatter it, to pull your attention in 100 directions. They know if they can keep you distracted, they can keep you from your purpose. But God gave you a mind that can lock in, a spirit that can zero in on what matters. When the enemy throws noise your way, worries, conflicts, endless to-dos, center yourself. Fix your eyes on God. Let His voice be the only one you follow. Your focus is your power, and it's time to sharpen it. Think of Peter walking on water until he looked at the waves. The moment he shifted his focus, he sank. But when he fixed his eyes on Jesus, he walked. You're in that same moment. The enemy's attacks are just waves, trying to pull your gaze away. Don't let them. Keep your focus on God's truth, His promises, His plan. Every time you choose to stay focused, you're stepping closer to the miracles waiting for you. The enemy can't stop a mindset on God. Now let's talk about your strength. Not the kind you build in a gym, but the kind that comes from enduring, from standing through storms, from rising again and again. The enemy wants you to think you're weak, that you can't handle what's coming. But look at your life. You've faced battles that would have crushed others. You've carried burdens that should have broken you, and you're still here, stronger than ever. That's not luck. That's God's strength in you, and it's only growing. Think of Samson, whose strength wasn't just in his body, but in his connection to God. Even when he fell, God's strength lifted him back up. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might knock you down, but they can't keep you there. Every time you rise, you're stronger, wiser, more powerful. Your strength is a gift, a divine force that grows with every trial. So stand tall. Let the enemy see that their attacks only make you stronger. Let's talk about your hope. The enemy wants to steal it, to make you think the future is bleak. But hope is your lifeline, your anchor, your defiance against their lies. God planted hope in your heart, and it's not fragile. It's fierce. It's the belief that no matter how dark the night, morning is coming. The enemy can't stand that. They'll try to bury you in despair, but your hope is a fire they can't put out. Hold on to it. Let it burn bright. It's what carries you through. Think of Hannah. praying through years of barrenness, holding on to hope when the world told her to give up. Her hope wasn't just wishful thinking, it was faith in action. And God answered. Your hope is the same. It's not passive, it's powerful. Every time you choose hope over despair, you're pushing back the enemy's plans. You're declaring that God's promises are true, that your future is bright, that no attack can steal what He has for you. Keep hoping, keep believing. Your victory is already written. Now let's talk about your identity. The enemy wants to redefine you, to make you think you're less than what God says you are. They'll whisper that you're unworthy, flawed, not enough. But you are a chosen one, created in God's image, called by His name. Your identity isn't up for debate. It's sealed by heaven. When the enemy attacks, they're not just targeting your circumstances. They're targeting who you are. Stand firm in your truth. You are His, and that's all that matters. Think of Gideon hiding in a wine press, thinking he was nothing. But God called him a mighty warrior. The enemy wants you hiding, doubting, shrinking. But God sees the warrior in you. Every time you embrace your identity, chosen, loved, powerful, you're slamming the door on the enemy's lies. You're not who they say you are. You're who God says you are. Live in that truth and watch the darkness flee. Let's talk about your purpose. The enemy doesn't just attack you. They attack what you're called to do. They know your purpose is a threat to their plans, a light that exposes their schemes. But God didn't give you a purpose by accident. It's your mission, your calling, your reason for being. Every attack is a sign that you're closer to stepping into it. Protect your purpose by staying aligned with God. Let His voice guide you. Let His plan define you. Your purpose is bigger than the enemy's attacks, and it's time to walk in it. Think of Jeremiah, called to speak truth in a world that didn't want to hear it. The enemy tried to silence him, but God's purpose was stronger. Your purpose is the same. It's not small or insignificant. It's world-changing. The enemy's attacks are just distractions, trying to pull you away from what you're meant to do. But you're too focused, too called, too chosen to be stopped. Keep moving toward your purpose. Every step is a victory, and the enemy can't touch what God has ordained. Let's talk about your resilience. The enemy wants you to believe their attacks will wear you down, that you'll eventually break under the pressure. But you're built differently. You've faced trials that would have crushed others, and each time you've come back stronger, sharper, more determined. Your resilience isn't just stubbornness. It's a divine gift, a fire in your soul that refuses to go out. The enemy sees it, and it terrifies them. They throw their worst at you, but you keep rising, like a tree that bends in the storm but never snaps. Think of Elijah, standing alone against hundreds of false prophets. The odds were stacked against him, the threats real, the pressure crushing. But he stood firm, his resilience rooted in God's truth. You're walking that same path. Every time the enemy hits you, they expect you to fall. But you don't. You stand taller, your roots deeper, your faith stronger. Your resilience is a weapon, a testament to the power God has placed in you. Keep standing. Every blow you withstand is proof the enemy's plans are failing. Now let's talk about your intuition. The enemy wants to drown it out, to make you second-guess the quiet voice inside. But your intuition is a gift from God, a compass that guides you through the darkest nights. It's that nudge when something feels off, that clarity when the world feels chaotic. The enemy hates it because it keeps you one step ahead. They can't sneak up on you when you're listening to that inner voice. So trust it. Lean into it. Let it guide you when the path seems unclear. It's God speaking, and He's never wrong. Think of Samuel, hearing God's voice in the stillness of the night. Others might have dismissed it, but he listened. That intuition led him to his purpose. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to drown out your inner voice, but it's still there, steady and true. When you feel that pull, that knowing, don't ignore it. It's your shield, your guide, your direct line to God's wisdom. The enemy can't touch what's rooted in his voice. So listen closely. Your intuition will lead you through every trap. Let's talk about your boundaries. The enemy loves to cross them, to push into spaces where they don't belong. They'll try to drain your energy, invade your peace, pull you into their chaos. But you have the power to say no. Your boundaries aren't just walls. They're declarations of who you are and what you stand for. Setting them is an act of faith, a way of honoring the sacred space God created in you. When you hold those lines, you're telling the enemy they have no claim over you. Think of Nehemiah rebuilding Jerusalem's walls while enemies tried to distract him. He didn't let them in. He kept his focus, his boundaries firm, his mission clear. You're doing the same. Every time you say no to the enemy's schemes, whether it's a toxic situation, a draining person, or a lie that tries to take root, you're building walls the enemy can't breach. Protect your space. Guard your heart. Your boundaries are your strength, and they keep the darkness at bay. If this message is sparking something in you, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones standing firm in their divine calling. And if you're ready to declare your boundaries, comment 777 below. Let the heavens hear your resolve. Now let's talk about your gratitude. The enemy wants you focused on what's missing, on what's hard, on what's attacking you. But gratitude shifts everything. It's not just a feeling, it's a weapon that blinds the darkness. When you give thanks, even in the storm, you're declaring that God is bigger than any attack. You're saying the enemy doesn't get to define your perspective. Every moment of gratitude is a strike against their plans, a reminder that you see God's hand even in the chaos. Think of Paul and Silas singing in chains. They didn't curse their situation, they praised through it. That gratitude shook the prison, broke the chains, opened the doors. Your gratitude does the same. When the enemy attacks, lift your eyes to God. Thank Him for His presence, His promises, His protection. That act of gratitude isn't just defiance, it's power. It shifts the atmosphere, clears the fog, and sends the enemy running. So, keep giving thanks. It's a light the darkness can't stand. Let's talk about your alignment. The enemy wants to pull you out of sync with God's plan, to make you chase things that don't matter. But when you're aligned with Him, His will, His timing, His purpose, you're untouchable. Alignment isn't about perfection, it's about surrender. It's choosing God's way over the world's, His voice over the noise. The enemy knows that when you're aligned, their tricks don't work. You're too focused, too anchored, too in tune with heaven's rhythm. Think of Mary, who sat at Jesus' feet while the world demanded her attention elsewhere. She chose alignment over distraction, and it changed her life. You're making that same choice. When the enemy tries to pull you off course, realign yourself. Pray. Seek God's face. Ask Him to keep you in step with His plan. Every moment you choose alignment is a moment you step closer to your destiny. The enemy can't touch a soul fully surrendered to God's will. Now let's talk about your authority. The enemy wants you to forget you have it, to think you're powerless against their attacks. But God gave you authority, not just to stand, but to command. You're not a bystander in this battle. You're a warrior with heaven's backing. When you speak, the spiritual realm listens. When you pray, mountains move. When you stand in your authority, the enemy has no choice but to retreat. So, step into it. Claim it. You're not just defending, you're conquering. Think of Joshua facing Jericho's walls. He didn't beg or plead. He marched, he shouted, he claimed the victory God promised. You have that same authority. The enemy's attacks are just walls, and your faith is the shout that brings them down. Speak with boldness, pray with power, stand in the authority God gave you. The enemy might come, but they can't stay when you know who you are. Your authority is a force, and it's time to use it. Let's talk about your rest. The enemy wants you restless, always striving, always fighting in your own strength. But God's rest is your secret weapon. It's not about doing nothing, it's about trusting everything to Him. When you rest in God, you're not weak, you're wise. You're letting Him fight the battle while you recharge. The enemy hates that because a rested soul is a dangerous soul. They can't manipulate someone who's at peace. So, find that rest. Let God's presence be your refuge. Think of David resting by the stream before facing Goliath. He wasn't pacing or panicking. He was calm, trusting God's strength. You're the same. When the enemy's attacks feel overwhelming, don't run harder. Rest deeper. Spend time in God's presence. Let His peace fill you. That rest will make you sharper, stronger, ready for whatever comes next. The enemy can't touch a soul resting in God's hands. Now let's talk about your transformation. The enemy wants you stuck, unchanged, trapped in old patterns. But God is making you new. Every attack you face is part of the process, stripping away what doesn't belong, shaping you into who you're meant to be. The enemy sees it happening, and it terrifies them. They know the more you transform, the less they can control you. So, embrace the change. Let God refine you. Every step forward is a step away from their grip. Think of the caterpillar, locked in a cocoon, transformed in the dark. The enemy wants you to fear the cocoon, to resist the change. But God says, trust the process. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. Every trial, every attack is part of your transformation into something greater. The enemy can't stop what God is shaping. So, lean into it. Let the process work. You're becoming a force they can't touch. Let's talk about your connections. The enemy wants you isolated, cut off from those who strengthen you. They know your power grows in community, in relationships that reflect God's love. But God created you for connection, for bonds that lift you up and sharpen your faith. Protect those connections. Surround yourself with people who see your calling, who pray for you, who stand with you. The enemy can't break a cord of 3 strands. Your relationships are your strength. Think of Jonathan, whose friendship with David was a lifeline in the face of danger. Their bond wasn't just love, it was power, a divine connection that helped them both stand firm. You need those connections too. The enemy's attacks are weaker when you're not alone. Find your people, build your tribe, let their faith fuel yours. Together, you're a force the enemy can't overcome. Your connections are a shield, and they're stronger than you know. If this message is igniting your spirit, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones standing together in faith. And if you're ready to claim your divine connections, comment 777 below. Let your declaration resound. Now, let's talk about your perspective. The enemy wants you to see their attacks as proof you're losing, but God wants you to see them as proof you're winning. Every challenge is a sign you're moving closer to your purpose. Shift your perspective. Don't look at the attack, look at the opportunity. Every lie they throw is a chance to speak truth. Every fear they stir is a chance to choose faith. Your perspective shapes your reality, and it's time to see through God's eyes. Think of Joseph, who saw God's hand even in a pit, in slavery, in prison. The enemy thought they had him trapped, but he saw a bigger picture. You're the same. The enemy's attacks aren't the end. They're the beginning of something greater. When they come for you, don't focus on the pain. Focus on the promise. God is working all things together for your good. Your perspective is your power, and it's time to use it to see beyond the enemy's schemes. Let's talk about your worship. The enemy wants to silence it, to keep you too distracted or discouraged to lift your voice. But worship is your rebellion. It's your declaration that God is greater, that His plans are stronger, that His love is deeper than any attack. When you worship, You're not just singing, you're shifting the spiritual atmosphere. You're tearing down strongholds. You're inviting heaven into the fight. The enemy can't stand in the presence of worship, so let it be your battle cry. Think of Jehoshaphat, who sent singers ahead of his army. They didn't fight with swords, they fought with praise, and God won the battle. Your worship does the same. When the enemy attacks, lift your voice. Sing, pray, praise. Let your worship shake the ground. It's not just an act, it's a weapon, a force that pushes back the darkness. The enemy wants you silent, but your worship makes you unstoppable. So keep praising. Keep lifting him up. Watch the enemy flee. Now let's talk about your expectancy. The enemy wants you to expect defeat, to brace for the worst, but God calls you to expect victory. Expectancy isn't blind hope. It's faith in action, believing God's promises before you see them. When you live with expectancy, you're telling the enemy their attacks are pointless. You're declaring that God's goodness is coming, that breakthroughs are on the way, that the gates of heaven are opening. Expectancy is your shield, and it's stronger than any lie. Think of Simeon, waiting years for the Messiah, never doubting God's promise. His expectancy kept him steady, and he saw the fulfillment. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to shake your hope, but you expect God's goodness. You expect his provision. You expect his victory. Every time you choose expectancy, you're building a wall the enemy can't climb. So keep expecting. Keep believing. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. Let's talk about your surrender. The enemy wants you to cling to control, to fight their attacks in your own strength. But true power comes in letting go, in surrendering to God's plan. Surrender isn't giving up. It's giving over. It's trusting God to handle what you can't. When you surrender, you're not weak. You're wise. You're letting the Creator of the universe take the lead. The enemy can't manipulate a heart fully surrendered to God. So, let go. Trust him. He's got this. Think of Jesus in the garden, surrendering to God's will before the cross. That surrender didn't weaken him. It empowered him. You're walking that same path. The enemy's attacks might push you to fight harder, to hold tighter. But God says, let go. Surrender the fear, the worry, the need to control. Give it to him. In that surrender, you'll find strength you didn't know you had. The enemy can't touch a soul resting in God's hands. So, surrender and watch him move. Let's talk about your clarity. The enemy thrives in confusion, weaving webs of doubt and uncertainty to cloud your mind. They want you lost in a fog, unsure of your next step. But God gave you a spirit of clarity, a mind sharp enough to cut through their lies. Your clarity is like a lighthouse, guiding you through the stormiest seas. When the enemy tries to muddy your thoughts, you can pause, pray, and see the truth. That clarity isn't just a gift. It's a weapon that keeps you steady when the world shakes. Think of Daniel, interpreting dreams no one else could unravel. The enemy wanted him lost in the mystery, but his clarity came from God, and it set him apart. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to overwhelm you, but your clarity cuts through. When you feel the chaos closing in, turn to God. Ask for his wisdom. Let his truth light your path. Every moment of clarity is a victory, a step forward the enemy can't block. So, hold on to it. Your clear mind is a force they can't defeat. Now, let's talk about your endurance. The enemy wants you to tire, to give up when their attacks feel endless. They hope you'll quit before you reach your promise. But your endurance is divine, a strength that grows deeper with every trial. You're not just surviving, you're thriving through the long haul. The enemy underestimates you because they don't understand the power of a heart that refuses to break. Your endurance is a fire, burning steady even when the winds howl. Think of the woman at the well carrying years of shame, yet still standing, still seeking. Her endurance led her to Jesus, and her life changed forever. you're walking that same road. The enemy's attacks might feel relentless, but your endurance outlasts them. Every day you keep going, every moment you refuse to quit, you're proving them wrong. Your endurance isn't just strength, it's defiance. Keep pressing forward. The enemy can't outrun a soul fueled by God's purpose. Let's talk about your joy. The enemy wants to steal it, to replace it with heaviness and despair. They know a joyful heart is a dangerous heart, one that can't be controlled. But your joy is rooted in God, not circumstances. It's a light that shines even in the darkest moments, a strength that lifts you above the enemy's reach. When you choose joy, you're choosing to see God's goodness, no matter what's coming against you. That choice is a weapon, and it's sharper than any attack. Think of Habakkuk, who said he'd rejoice even when the fields failed and the flocks were gone. His joy wasn't tied to what he could see, it was tied to God. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to strip away your happiness, but your joy runs deeper. It's a river they can't dam. So, choose it. Laugh in the face of their schemes. Dance through their storms. Your joy is a declaration that God is bigger, and it drives the darkness away. If this message is stirring your soul, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones shining their light. And if you're ready to claim your joy, comment 777 below. Let the heavens hear your defiance. Now, let's talk about your discernment. The enemy wants to blind you, to make you miss the traps they set. But God gave you a spirit of discernment, a gift that lets you see what's hidden. You sense the truth behind the lies, the motive behind the smile, the danger behind the calm. That discernment is your shield, protecting you from stepping into the enemy's snares. When you feel that inner warning, don't brush it off. It's God guiding you, keeping you safe. Think of Abigail, who saw through Nabal's foolishness and acted with wisdom. Her discernment saved lives and secured her future. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might be clever, but your discernment is sharper. When something feels wrong, trust it. Pray for God to reveal the truth. Lean into His guidance. Every time you listen to that discernment, you're dodging a trap the enemy thought was foolproof. Your ability to see clearly is a power they can't overcome. Let's talk about your generosity. The enemy wants you to hold tight, to cling to what you have out of fear. They know a generous heart breaks their plans. When you give, your time, your love, your resources, you're sowing seeds the enemy can't uproot. Your generosity isn't just kindness, it's a spiritual act, a declaration that God's abundance flows through you. The enemy hates it because it spreads light, builds hope, and defies their scarcity mindset. Think of the widow who gave her last coins. The world saw her as poor, but Jesus saw her as rich. Her generosity shook the heavens. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to make you feel lacking, but your generosity proves them wrong. Give boldly, even when it feels risky. Share your light, your love, your faith. Every act of generosity is a blow to the enemy's plans, a seed planted for a harvest they can't stop. So, keep giving. Your open heart is a force. Now let's talk about your stillness. The enemy wants you frantic, always reacting, always moving. They know a restless soul is easier to manipulate. But God calls you to stillness, to a quiet trust that anchors you in His presence. Stillness isn't passivity, it's power. It's the moment you stop striving and let God move. When you're still, you hear His voice clearly, you see His plan unfold, you feel His strength fill you. The enemy can't touch a soul at rest in God. Think of Moses at the Red Sea, standing still as the enemy closed in. He didn't panic, he trusted, and God parted the waters. You're in that same place. The enemy's attacks might feel like an army at your back, but stillness is your strategy. Stand firm, trust God's timing, let Him fight the battle. Your stillness is a declaration that you're not moved by the enemy's threats. It's a power they can't break, a peace they can't steal. Let's talk about your faith. The enemy wants to erode it, to make you doubt God's promises. They'll point to every storm, every setback, and whisper, "Where's your God now?" But your faith is a rock, unshakable, built on the truth of who He is. It's not blind belief. It's a choice to trust what you know over what you see. Every time you choose faith, you're slamming the door on the enemy's lies. Your faith is a fire, and it burns brighter with every attack. Think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego standing before the furnace. The enemy expected them to bow, but their faith kept them upright. They walked through fire unharmed because they trusted God. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might feel like flames, but your faith carries you through. Declare God's promises. Stand on His word. Every act of faith is a victory, a step closer to the destiny the enemy can't stop. Your faith is your shield, and it's unbreakable. Now let's talk about your restoration. The enemy wants you to stay broken, to carry the wounds of past battles. They hope you'll see yourself as damaged, unworthy, but God is a restorer. He takes what's shattered and makes it whole, what's lost and makes it found. Every attack you've faced is an opportunity for restoration, a chance for God to rebuild you stronger, better, more radiant. The enemy can't stop what God is healing in you. Think of Naomi, who lost everything but found restoration through Ruth's faithfulness. The enemy thought they had her defeated, but God had other plans. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might leave scars, but God turns those scars into stories of victory. Let Him heal you. Let Him restore what's been taken. Every step toward restoration is a step away from the enemy's grip. Your healing is a power they can't touch, a light they can't dim. Let's talk about your boldness. The enemy wants you timid, afraid to step into the spaces God has called you to. They know a bold soul changes everything, but God made you fearless, created to walk where others hesitate. Your boldness isn't loud or brash. It's steady, rooted in the certainty of who you are in Him. When you step out in boldness, you're claiming ground the enemy thought was theirs. Every bold move is a strike against their plans. Think of Peter stepping out of the boat onto the water. The enemy wanted him to stay safe, to shrink back. But his boldness defied the storm. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to keep you in the boat, but God calls you to walk on water. Step out. Speak up. Act with courage. Your boldness is a fire that burns through the enemy's schemes. It's a power they can't contain, a force they can't stop. If this message is fueling your fire, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones walking boldly in their calling. And if you're ready to claim your boldness, comment 777 below. Let your courage echo in the spiritual realm. Now let's talk about your legacy. The enemy wants you to think your life is small, that your impact won't last. They want you focused on the moment, not the future. But God says your life is planting seeds for generations. Every choice you make, every stand you take is building something eternal. The enemy hates that because they know your legacy will outlast their attacks. Your life is a story of triumph, and it's still being written. Think of David, whose psalms still echo thousands of years later. The enemy couldn't silence his voice because it was rooted in God. You're building that same kind of legacy. The enemy's attacks are temporary, but your impact is eternal. Every time you choose faith, love, courage, you're leaving a mark the darkness can't erase. Keep building, keep trusting. Your legacy is a light that will shine long after the enemy's schemes fade. Let's talk about your peace. The enemy wants to disrupt it, to keep you in turmoil. They know a peaceful heart is a powerful heart, one that can't be swayed by chaos. But God's peace is your inheritance, a calm that holds steady no matter the storm. It's not just a feeling, it's a fortress, a place where you stand unshaken. When you walk in peace, you're telling the enemy they have no power over you. That peace is your strength, and it's untouchable. Think of Jesus, sleeping through the storm while the disciples panicked. His peace wasn't shaken because he knew who was in control. You have that same peace. The enemy's attacks might rage, but you can rest in God's presence. Let his peace anchor you. Pray for it. Seek it. Let it fill you. Every moment of peace is a victory, a declaration that the enemy's chaos can't touch you. Your peace is a power, and it's driving the darkness away. Now, let's talk about your purpose. The enemy wants you to doubt it, to think your life has no direction. They'll throw distractions and discouragement to make you question why you're here. But your purpose is God-given, a calling etched into your soul. It's not something you find. It's something you live. Every attack is a sign the enemy sees your purpose and fears it. They know what you're capable of, and they'll do anything to stop it. But you're too chosen to be stopped. Think of Jonah, running from his purpose but brought back by God's hand. The enemy wanted him off course, but God's plan was stronger. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to pull you away, but your purpose is bigger. Lean into it. Ask God to show you the next step. Live it boldly. Every moment you walk in your purpose is a moment the enemy loses ground. Your purpose is a fire, and it's burning through their plans. Let's talk about your trust. The enemy wants to shatter it, to make you question God's faithfulness. They'll point to every delay, every unanswered prayer, and whisper that God's forgotten you. But your trust is a cornerstone, a rock that holds firm when everything else shakes. It's not just believing God will come through, it's knowing He already has, even when you can't see it. Your trust is a weapon, a quiet strength that defies the enemy's lies. When you trust, you're telling them their schemes can't touch your faith. Think of Abraham, waiting decades for a promise. The enemy wanted him to give up, to doubt God's word, but his trust grew stronger with every year, and it birthed a nation. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to shake your confidence, but your trust in God is unshakable. Lean into it. Hold fast to His promises. Every moment you trust is a moment you stand taller than the darkness. Your trust is a light, and it burns through their deception. Now let's talk about your patience. The enemy wants you rushed, anxious, chasing quick fixes that lead nowhere. They know if they can push you to act out of fear, they can derail your purpose. But your patience is a gift, a steady rhythm that keeps you aligned with God's timing. Patience isn't waiting passively, it's trusting actively, knowing every delay is preparation for something greater. The enemy can't stand it because your patience outlasts their plans. Think of Simeon, waiting years to see the Messiah. The enemy wanted him to grow bitter, to lose hope. But his patience was his power, and it led him to Jesus. You're walking that same path. The enemy's attacks might try to rush you, to make you doubt the wait, but your patience is a shield. Stay steady. Trust God's timing. Every moment you wait with faith is a moment the enemy loses ground. Your patience is a force, and it's stronger than their chaos. Let's talk about your wisdom. The enemy wants you foolish, making choices that trap you in their web. They'll dangle distractions, tempt you with shortcuts, hoping you'll stumble. But God gave you wisdom, a mind sharpened by His truth. Your wisdom lets you see the cost of every choice, the truth behind every lie. It's not just knowledge, it's discernment, the ability to navigate the enemy's schemes with clarity and strength. When you walk in wisdom, you're untouchable. Think of Solomon, whose wisdom made him a king no enemy could outwit. The enemy wanted him confused, but God's wisdom made him unstoppable. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to cloud your judgment, but your wisdom cuts through. Pray for it. Seek it in God's word. Let it guide your steps. Every wise choice you make is a blow to the enemy's plans. Your wisdom is a light, and it exposes their every move. If this message is lighting a fire in your spirit, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones walking in divine wisdom. And if you're ready to claim your strength, comment 777 below. Let your declaration shake the heavens. Now, let's talk about your compassion. The enemy wants you cold, closed off, too guarded to care. They know a compassionate heart is a dangerous heart, one that can heal what they break. But your compassion is a gift from God, a love that reaches beyond yourself. It's not weakness, it's power, the kind that softens hearts, shifts atmospheres, and breaks the enemy's hold. When you show compassion, you're reflecting God's heart, and that's a force they can't fight. Think of the Good Samaritan, who stopped when others passed by. The enemy wanted him indifferent, but his compassion changed a life. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to harden you, to make you focus only on your own survival, but your compassion defies them. Love boldly, care deeply, reach out even when it's hard. Every act of compassion is a strike against the darkness, a light that pushes their plans back. Your compassion is a weapon, and it's unstoppable. Let's talk about your focus. The enemy wants you scattered, chasing 1,000 things that lead nowhere. They know a divided mind is easier to control, but God gave you a focus that locks in like a laser, cutting through the noise. Your focus isn't just concentration, it's devotion, a commitment to what matters most. When you fix your eyes on God's purpose, the enemy's distractions fade. Your focus is a shield, keeping you steady when they try to pull you off course. Think of Nehemiah, rebuilding the wall while enemies mocked and schemed. He didn't let their noise break his focus. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to pull your attention, but your focus is stronger. Keep your eyes on God's plan. Let His voice guide you. Every moment you stay focused is a moment you claim victory. Your focus is a power, and it's driving the enemy back. Now, let's talk about your gratitude. The enemy wants you complaining, focused on what's wrong. They know a grateful heart shifts the battle. But your gratitude is a flame, burning bright even in the storm. It's not just saying thanks. It's seeing God's hand in every moment, trusting His goodness no matter what. When you choose gratitude, you're choosing to see the bigger picture, to rise above the enemy's lies. That choice is a weapon, and it's sharper than their attacks. Think of Paul, writing letters of joy from a prison cell. The enemy wanted him bitter, but his gratitude shook the chains. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to steal your joy, but your gratitude stops them. Give thanks in every moment. See God's goodness in every trial. Every grateful word is a blow to the darkness, a light that they can't extinguish. Your gratitude is a force, and it's changing the battle. Let's talk about your courage. The enemy wants you afraid, shrinking back from the path God set before you. They know a courageous heart is a threat to their plans. But God made you bold, not with reckless bravado, but with a quiet strength that stands firm. Your courage is rooted in faith, in knowing who walks with you. When you step forward despite fear, you're telling the enemy they've already lost. Your courage is a fire, and it burns through their schemes. Think of Esther, risking her life to approach the king. The enemy wanted her silent, but her courage saved a nation. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to intimidate you, but your courage rises higher. Step out, speak up, trust God's strength. Every bold move you make is a strike against their plans. Your courage is a power, and it's unstoppable in God's hands. Now let's talk about your healing. The enemy wants you wounded, carrying the pain of past battles. They hope you'll stay broken, too hurt to rise. But God is a healer, mending every scar, turning pain into purpose. Your healing isn't just for you, it's a testimony, a light that shows others what's possible. The enemy hates it because every wound God heals is a victory they can't undo. Your healing is a weapon, a proof that God's power is greater. Think of the man at the pool of Bethesda, waiting years for healing. The enemy wanted him stuck, but Jesus made him whole. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might leave marks, but God's touch restores. Let him heal you. Trust his process. Every step toward healing is a step away from the enemy's grip. Your healing is a light, and it's shining brighter than their darkness. Let's talk about your vision. The enemy wants you blind, unable to see the path ahead. They'll throw distractions, doubts, anything to keep you lost. But God gave you a vision, a glimpse of the future he's prepared. It's not just a dream. It's a promise, a picture of what's coming. Your vision keeps you moving, even when the enemy tries to block your way. When you hold on to it, you're holding on to God's plan, and no force can take that from you. Think of Joseph clinging to his dream through years of slavery and prison. The enemy wanted him to forget, but his vision kept him steady. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to blur your future, but your vision is clearer. Hold it tight, see it in your heart, pray it into reality. Every moment you focus on your vision is a moment you defeat the enemy's plans. Your vision is a power, and it's guiding you to victory. If this message is igniting your spirit, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones chasing their divine vision. And if you're ready to claim your healing, comment 777 below. Let your faith resound in the heavens. Now, let's talk about your resilience. The enemy wants you fragile, ready to break at the first hit. They hope their attacks will shatter you, but your resilience is a gift, a strength that grows with every trial. You've faced storms that should have stopped you, yet here you are, standing tall. Your resilience isn't just survival, it's triumph, a refusal to let the enemy win. When you rise after every fall, you're showing them God's power in you is stronger than their schemes. Think of Job, who lost everything yet held fast to God. The enemy thought they had him, but his resilience proved them wrong. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might hit hard, but your resilience hits harder. Keep rising, keep trusting. Every time you stand back up, you're pushing the darkness back. Your resilience is a fire, and it's burning through their plans. Let's talk about your hope. The enemy wants you hopeless, staring at the ground instead of the stars. They know a hopeful heart is a dangerous heart, one that sees beyond the now. But your hope is anchored in God, a light that shines even in the darkest moments. It's not wishful thinking. It's faith in what's coming. When you hold on to hope, you're holding on to God's promises, and that's a power the enemy can't touch. Think of Noah, building an ark when no one saw rain. The enemy wanted him to despair, but his hope kept him working. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to dim your hope, but it burns brighter. Cling to it. Believe in God's future for you. Every moment you choose hope is a moment you defeat the darkness. Your hope is a weapon, and it's cutting through their lies. Now let's talk about your rest. The enemy wants you restless, too busy to hear God's voice. They know a rested soul is a strong soul, one that can't be swayed. But God's rest is your refuge, a place where you recharge in His presence. It's not just sleep, it's peace, a stillness that anchors you. When you rest in God, you're not weak, you're wise. You're letting Him fight while you regain strength. The enemy can't touch a soul at rest. Think of Elijah, exhausted and alone, resting under God's care. The enemy wanted him broken, but God's rest restored him. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to wear you down, but God's rest lifts you up. Find it, seek it, let His peace fill you. Every moment of rest is a victory, a declaration that the enemy's chaos can't touch you. Your rest is a power, and it's keeping you strong. Let's talk about your steadfastness. The enemy wants you wavering, shifting with every gust of doubt they send your way. They hope to see you stumble, to lose your footing under their pressure. But your steadfastness is a divine anchor, a resolve that keeps you rooted in God's truth. It's not just standing still. It's standing strong, unmoved by the chaos swirling around you. When you hold your ground, you're showing the enemy their attacks can't shake what God has built in you. Think of the prophet Elisha, surrounded by an army, yet calm in the face of danger. The enemy thought they had him trapped, but his steadfastness came from seeing God's protection. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might look overwhelming, but your steadfastness is stronger. Stay rooted in God's promises. Stand firm in His truth. Every moment you refuse to waver is a moment you push the darkness back. Your steadfastness is a shield, and it's holding the enemy at bay. Now, let's talk about your discernment. The enemy wants you blind, falling for their carefully laid traps. They weave illusions, hoping you'll miss the truth. But God gave you discernment, a gift that lets you see through the fog. You sense the hidden motives, the subtle lies, the dangers dressed as opportunities. That discernment is your guide, a light that reveals what the enemy wants concealed. When you trust it, you're always one step ahead of their schemes. Think of Nathan, who saw through David's deception and spoke truth with courage. The enemy wanted him silent, but his discernment gave him power. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to deceive you, but your discernment cuts through. Listen to that inner nudge. Pray for God's clarity. Every time you see through their lies, you're dodging a trap they thought was perfect. Your discernment is a weapon, and it's keeping you safe. Let's talk about your generosity. The enemy wants you selfish, clutching what you have out of fear. They know a generous spirit disrupts their plans. But your generosity is a river flowing from God's abundance. It's not just giving. It's sowing seeds of light that the enemy can't uproot. When you share your time, your love, your resources, you're building something eternal, something the darkness can't touch. Your generosity is a force, and it's changing the battlefield. Think of Barnabas, who gave freely to support the early church. The enemy wanted him to hoard, but his generosity fueled a movement. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to make you hold back, but your generosity pushes forward. Give boldly, love freely. Every act of giving is a strike against the darkness, a seed planted for a harvest they can't stop. Your generosity is a light, and it's shining through their schemes. If this message is igniting your heart, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones living in God's abundance. And if you're ready to claim your generosity, comment 777 below. Let your faith echo in the heavens. Now, let's talk about your humility. The enemy wants you proud, chasing glory that fades. They know pride makes you vulnerable, easy to manipulate. But your humility is a strength, a quiet power that keeps you grounded in God. It's not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of God more. When you walk in humility, you're untouchable because you're not fighting for your own name. You're fighting for His. The enemy can't sway a heart surrendered to God's glory. Think of John the Baptist, who said, "He must increase, but I must decrease." The enemy wanted him to seek fame, but his humility made him a forerunner of Christ. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might tempt you to chase recognition, but your humility keeps you steady. Stay low before God. Let Him lift you up. Every humble step you take is a step the enemy can't follow. Your humility is a shield, and it's protecting your purpose. Let's talk about your obedience. The enemy wants you rebellious, ignoring God's voice for your own way. They know disobedience opens doors for their influence. But your obedience is a key, unlocking the promises God has for you. It's not just following rules. It's trusting His plan, even when it's hard. When you obey, you're aligning with heaven's power, stepping into a path the enemy can't block. Your obedience is a weapon, and it's stronger than their schemes. Think of Noah building an ark despite the world's mockery. The enemy wanted him to defy God, but his obedience saved a generation. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to pull you off God's path, but your obedience keeps you on it. Listen to his voice. Follow his lead. Every act of obedience is a blow to the darkness, a step toward your destiny. Your obedience is a fire, and it's burning through their plans. Now, let's talk about your joy. The enemy wants you heavy, weighed down by their attacks. They know a joyful heart is a threat, a light they can't extinguish. But your joy is rooted in God, a strength that rises above circumstances. It's not just a smile. It's a declaration that the enemy doesn't control you. When you choose joy, you're choosing God's truth over their lies. Your joy is a weapon, and it's cutting through their darkness. Think of David dancing before the Lord while enemies scoffed. The enemy wanted him ashamed, but his joy was his strength. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to steal your happiness, but your joy runs deeper. Choose it. Celebrate God's goodness. Every moment of joy is a victory, a light that pushes the darkness back. Your joy is a power, and it's shining brighter than their schemes. Let's talk about your rest. The enemy wants you restless, running on empty, too tired to fight. They know a weary soul is easier to attack. But God's rest is your sanctuary, a place where you recharge in his presence. It's not just stopping, it's trusting, letting him carry the weight. When you rest, you're not weak, you're wise. You're letting God fight while you regain strength. The enemy can't touch a soul resting in God's hands. Think of Jesus, resting in the boat while the storm raged. The enemy wanted him panicked, but his rest was his power. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to keep you frantic, but God's rest keeps you steady. Find it, seek his peace, let it fill you. Every moment of rest is a victory, a declaration that the enemy's chaos can't touch you. Your rest is a force, and it's keeping you strong. Now let's talk about your faith. The enemy wants you doubting, questioning God's goodness. They'll point to every storm and whisper, "He's not there." But your faith is a mountain, unmoved by their lies. It's not just believing, it's knowing, trusting God's heart, even when you can't see his hand. When you stand in faith, you're standing on a foundation the enemy can't shake. Your faith is a light, and it's piercing their darkness. Think of Hannah, praying through years of pain, never doubting God's promise. The enemy wanted her to give up, but her faith brought a miracle. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to erode your trust, but your faith stands firm. Hold on to it. Declare God's promises. Every act of faith is a blow to the darkness, a step toward your victory. Your faith is a weapon, and it's unstoppable in God's hands. Let's talk about your vision. The enemy wants you short-sighted, focused on the now instead of the future. They know a clear vision keeps you moving toward God's plan. But your vision is a gift, a glimpse of the destiny he's prepared. It's not just a dream, it's a promise, a path lit by his light. When you hold on to your vision, you're holding on to God's purpose, and no attack can steal it. Your vision is a fire, and it's guiding you through their schemes. Think of Joseph, clinging to his dream through years of hardship. The enemy wanted him to forget, but his vision kept him steady. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to blur your future, but your vision is clear. See it. Pray it. Walk toward it. Every step you take in faith is a step the enemy can't block. Your vision is a power, and it's leading you to triumph. If this message is stirring your soul, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones chasing their divine vision. And if you're ready to claim your faith, comment 777 below. Let your declaration resound. Now let's talk about your strength. The enemy wants you weak, believing their attacks will break you. They hope you'll crumble under the weight, but your strength is divine, forged in the fires of every trial you've faced. It's not just muscle. It's endurance, a spirit that refuses to quit. When you stand strong, you're showing the enemy their plans are failing. Your strength is a light, and it's shining through their darkness. Think of Samson, whose strength came from God, not himself. The enemy thought they had him, but his strength returned. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to weaken you, but your strength grows in God's presence. Lean into him. Trust his power. Every moment you stand strong is a moment you push the darkness back. Your strength is a force, and it's breaking their hold. Let's talk about your peace. The enemy wants you in turmoil, caught in their chaos. They know a peaceful heart is a powerful heart, one they can't control. But God's peace is your fortress, a calm that holds you steady. It's not just quiet, it's strength, a trust that God is in control. When you walk in peace, you're telling the enemy they have no power over you. Your peace is a weapon, and it's driving their plans away. Think of Daniel in the lion's den, calm while danger roared. The enemy wanted him afraid, but his peace was his power. You're the same. The enemy's attacks might try to shake you, but God's peace keeps you steady. Seek it, pray for it, let it anchor you. Every moment of peace is a victory, a light that the darkness can't touch. Your peace is a force, and it's stronger than their chaos. Now let's talk about your purpose. The enemy wants you aimless, wandering without direction. They know a purposeful life is a threat to their plans. But God gave you a purpose, a calling that burns in your soul. It's not just a goal, it's a mission, a reason you're here. When you live in your purpose, you're walking in God's plan, and no attack can stop it. Your purpose is a fire, and it's burning through their schemes. Think of Jeremiah, called to speak truth despite opposition. The enemy wanted him silent, but his purpose